With the first pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Victor Wembanyama from Nanterre, France.
Since the middle of the 97-98 season, the year that Duncan was drafted, long after, that season had already started. So don't be calling me bandwagon and shit just because, I started watching and, cheering for them the first year Duncan was there. It was not because of that. It's a funny story, which is going to be a whole different entourage for another day. But this statement has always been true. I may live in Ohio, but my team is in San Antonio. It's always been true the last about to be 27 years. And even during the time I lived in the Lenore house in Michigan for 10 years, throughout all of the 2000s before coming back to Ohio and into the Sandhurst house in Brook Park that my grandparents owned before I did. For many years, decades, and generation, to have it in both my mom's family and my dad's family. Be close to the family again, considering, in Michigan we didn't have any family at all because they were all here in Cleveland. But even during the Lenore years in Michigan, and even that one full season in Mexico from August 01 to June of 02, basically Duncan's first, of two back-to-back league MVP seasons, even then it was true. And I could move to a different state, sometime next year, the year after that. That is not back to Michigan or not even Texas itself, or let alone Texas, but not the city of San Antonio. I'll always be a Clevelander partially at heart, generally, life in general, but sports-wise, my team will always be in San Antonio no matter where I go. It'll always be true, and it still is true to this day, 27 years later, and it'll always be true until the day we die. You probably were waiting for this video to drop. I got my fanboy cap on, my Tim Duncan fathead that came with me, from the last Christmas I spent in the Sandhurst house, which I think that was a fathead that was wrapped up as a Christmas present, and this my Tim Duncan jersey from the first year I rooted for him middle of his rookie season, because the Donut Repair Club had a mascot in a pink box, a small pink box, which is a donut named Duncan. And so my father had on a Spurs home game on NBC one day when we lived on West 122nd during that time. And I saw that the white version of that, I thought of the Donut Repair Club donut character in the pink box named Duncan, and as they all say, the rest is history. So that's why I became a Spurs and Tim Duncan fan, and not because they were winning or because when that season started. No, the season was already in the middle of its progress. And before you ask, no, I am not getting a Victor Wembanyama jersey. Even if he becomes the greatest thing since Duncan Robinson, my jersey will always be Tim Duncan or no one to the day I die. And I know you're probably forgetting, I'm probably forgetting that my favorite current players are Zach Collins and Trey Jones, even though I really didn't want to like any current players, everybody was bitching at me on TikTok in the 2020-2021 season, and those same dumbasses kind of made me, like current players, even though my personal preferences I really don't want to, because every time I pick a current player based on how the Spurs are now compared to all the years we were on top, they always fucking leave. So Zach and Trey end up leaving. I'm done with current players. So even if Victor Wembanyama is the Spurs whole career, I'm still not going to pick any current players, especially if Zach and Trey end up leaving. But as long as Zach and Trey stay, I'm cool with current players. And no, I will not get a Trey Jones or Zach Collins jersey again. No Zach, no Trey, no Wemby, not even Robinson, Parker, Ginobili. None of that stuff. It'll always be him or no one until the day I die. No wearing other players' jerseys here. And so, therefore, not, and especially not that imposter and Bruce Bowen's number. I'm glad we got rid of him when we did, because he was getting worse and worse. But as the years went on, he was here. And I'll get to the second elephant in the room a little later, which it comes to players who are just wannabes of the player who wore the number before them, and who was better in that number than they could ever dream of. Bowen was better than Aldridge could ever dream of. Bowen gave us 3 championships while Aldridge didn't do shit. All I can say. I'm gonna get to a second elephant in the room a little later. So therefore, when I left the Lenore house in Michigan after the last race in that house, the Samsung Radio Shack 500 at Texas, when we talk about imposters, the imposter and Brett Bodine's number won that race. That's when I came back to Brook Park, and then, I began watching the Spurs again because, I really didn't have the money to, I didn't really have all the full access to, watch them on Lenore, except for if I got a trial league pass. If I got a trial league pass, or if they're on national television, or if they're in the playoffs, which was every year, obviously. And then we got DirecTV. We ended up getting all the NBA channels for free because it's satellite. You get a bunch of sports channels from all the different states that have professional sports team in the NBA, NHL, MLB, and the most overhyped and overrated sport in America, including Fox Southwest with San Antonio. Well, 11-12 was the first full season. I got to watch all the Spurs games on the Spurs feed with Bill and Sean, and even during the newer part of the nostalgia Spurs days with, older Duncan, Ginobili, Parker, the Trader, Danny Green, Thiago Splitter, Bonner, Boris Diaw, Patty Mills. Let me see here. Who else was on that team? And trying to think. Oh my God, it's been almost 10, 12 years since that team. Holy goddamn shit. Corey Joseph was another one. Oh my God. Gary Neal, DeJuan Blair, Bellinelli when he was still actually good, because we all know the second version sucked. So, therefore, man, those are some good times. And even the opening years of this house here in Sandy Ridge, it was good. I finished that 2014-15 season here after starting it on Sandhurst. And then our first full NBA season was the one where that imposter and Bruce Bowen's number got here. And he was actually doing pretty good. I will admit, I did like how he was really good with us. Being pairing up with what was then our future back then, nephew number 2, because he'll be fuck that guy and everything he stands for forever and always. And I'm not gonna go on an entourage about him. That's something we save for when the Spurs play whoever the team he's on, because it's a good chance the Clippers won't bring him back. Based on what I read, it was on Facebook. I did not come up with that, but that's a whole different entourage for another day. And then everybody picked us to come out of the West, and guess what happened? We lost in the second round to the OKC, and then OKC blows a 3-1 lead to Golden State, who blows a 3-1 lead to Cleveland, as we all know. But I always got to say, I know the Cavs have always been feast or famine each and every year. To my real-life friends here in Ohio, one glorious season or 2 or 3 doesn't define a lifelong, all-time mediocre feast or famine team in any sport. So you had your 1 year of glory, so therefore it just doesn't define you guys that way, because we've always been good for the last 20 plus years before, the 4 years we were stuck in purgatory. San Antonio will always be better than Cleveland could ever dream of when it comes to basketball. So therefore, truth hurts, and people need to hear, and all the people here in Ohio that get mad at me for not supporting the local team will need to hear it, because of the fact that most of these are just young kids that have not been around as long as me, considering I've been a Spurs fan longer than almost all of them. All of them have been alive. So yeah, and then 2017-18 comes, Parker rushes back from injury, and then the backstabber quits on us and everything with Uncle Dennis. And then 2018-19, Ginobili retires. We lose Parker because he doesn't want to play second field to DeJounte, and he left for nothing because guess what? DeJounte ended up getting hurt in the preseason, and that wiped out his whole 18-19 season, which should have been his breakout season, which is why I'm going to hopefully do the NBA Live 19 history-changing fanfic on the channel one day. So yeah, and then we barely made the playoffs. We could have gave Parker one last playoff send-off had he stayed and Murray never got hurt. But he only would have stayed if, he didn't care if he came off the bench behind DeJounte. But that's why he left, because he didn't want to do that. But, it is what it is. Then 2019-20, Conley win the first 3 games of that season. And then it all goes down spiraling from here. We're already heading a direction where we would miss the playoffs for the first time since 96, 97. Then COVID hits. Everything gets canceled and, taken off the schedule. Everybody's stuck. If you're going to go outside and go places, you have to wear a mask and keep distance, 6 feet apart, and all that other bullshit that we had to go through it in that oddly interesting year. And then out of all things to continue to finish off, because the show must go on no matter how safe it is or isn't. The NBA decides to finish the season in Orlando with the bubble with no fans. Only the teams that were had a mathematical shot or a true shot at the playoffs or invited to play. The teams that were nowhere close, like the Pistons and the Warriors, had to sit that one out. And then that's usually a time I can get away from that stuff, but of course I had to take that stress into the summer, which was really, really bad. It was 2020. I would be being selfish. I said I was the only one that had to go through this, but a lot of people, even myself, couldn't win for losing. So therefore, that season finale in August 2020, I think it might have been, quit that one of the first of two imposters, and Matt Bonner's number gets hurt after the end of the first half. I just shut off the game and went outside and took a walk, and one of my real life neighborhood friends ran into me. We hung out and we had a good time, and that was even more fun. Then 2021 gets in. Well, I'm pretty sure you all know the rest. I've been rambling too much about how we've been stuck in purgatory and all this stuff. There's no time to go through the whole thing. So right now, I'm pretty sure you guys have been waiting for I'm pretty sure you. Anyway, let's get to the topic what you're really here to see. So therefore, the elephant in the room, that is Victor Wembanyama. Here we go. It was probably one of the worst kept secrets in American sports in modern day, since it was already obvious that Josh Barry was going to be Kevin Harvick's replacement at Stuart Haas once Harvick hangs up the racing suit and the racing helmet at the end of the year to go to the broadcast booth at Fox in 2024. But Victor Wembanyama can lightning strike twice like it did with Duncan in 97 and Robinson in 87, even though the Spurs had to wait till 89 for him to play because of his naval commitments, him being in the Navy and all that stuff. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. So, therefore, I really don't know what to say. Now, today, I was actually going to step outside and, hang out with my friends, do a little bit of a random walk, just to play music and ramble and take photos and make TikToks with my friends and everything. But it turns out when I went to take a breather after doing the trash on my mom's bed, I ended up crashing. And turns out the neighborhood was mostly more dead tonight than it was last night when we did neighborhood fun, tear it up like Terry Labonte. And we managed to salvage something, but tonight we just did not miss anything at all. And tomorrow and Saturday's weather is not looking promising, so therefore we might as well start Villains of Valley View Season 2. And pretty freaking scary. The world debut, tomorrow and Saturday. We're going to watch last week's episodes tomorrow, and we're going to watch this week's episode Saturday, and we're going to be right back on track with the shows. And hopefully sometime, maybe Sunday after I come in from being outside, the Sunday's looking better. But beginning of next week's not looking good, even though my sister's coming in later that week. So, therefore, Bunker released a Season 7 release date, July 23rd. I'm going to make a March presentations video, talking about that. And, my thoughts on the Writers Guild of America strike and how it's also impacted the production of the Really Loud House Season 2. But that's sometime for Sunday going into next week before my sister gets here, before we get into the busiest month of the year on YouTube and TikTok and in my life in general, on and off camera. The 4th of July, Sandy Ridge Bash in Turn 1 with Jerry Springer Man, Fireball Man, and Razorbacks. Whatever we got going on July 1st, July 3rd, July 4th, whatever we got. And then, of course, the Brook Park stuff on July 9th, the day my sister goes back home to live a regular scheduled daily life with her, current and future, her husband, her daughter, which is my brother-in-law and niece. And then we have to, we have to take our rest on July 10th here. We're going to be laying here in this bed, all exhausted and shit. And please excuse how bad it looks. I apologize for that. And, it's going to be so busy. Then Need for Speed real life on bike sign-ups, And then we have to say our goodbyes to Melania, over going that way where the Beals are, right next door to the Beals, another modern day Sandy Ridge, family, neighborhood group of neighborhood friends and family that sung me in as like their own, like Rogersons and Sorgs have since 2019 through 2021. We have to go over to the entrance of the neighborhood going that way. Behind, if you go through my closet, the back of my closet led you out, that led you through the wall and out to the neighborhood. You would be going that way, like as you're coming into the development. I have around July 19th to the 23rd, it's going to be really busy too. After we do need for speed signups, and sometime around there we're going to start it. But also, it's probably going to be the busiest of July after the 4th of July and Brook Park stuff are done. We have to say goodbye to Melania. We have to say goodbye to Jax, and 2 friends and 1 best friend. Jax sold just to Jenna, one of my best friends, right down the shitter, along with Werewolf Mama. I'm like, Brandy's been like a mother figure to me since I became best friends with Jenna. So in 2018-19, and yeah, around that time period, I have to say, they said around that time period they're going to be leaving around the same time. Both of them individually said that, but if I don't, because July 21st is a Friday. There was going to be a video, at the Seven Hills home days of, my, it's going to be a basic vlog. It's going to be a basic vlog, and, we and my dad hopefully are going to, get redemption from, Shiloh Verico's birthday and how he had his freak accident with the windshield and, that we couldn't see Georgia the first time on Shiloh Verico's birthday. We couldn't spice up Shiloh Verico's birthday then. But July 21st, hopefully, as long as he doesn't have anything already planned, we're going to redeem ourselves. We're going to go to Seven Hills home days. And guess what? We're going to see Georgia. We're going to YouTube it. And, man, we got a lot of stuff in store for, Red Knockout this month going into most of next month. I mean, and we haven't recorded a real life NBA Jam episode yet. We haven't recorded a Tim Duncan Cannot Recreate episode. We haven't recorded a heavy summer episode of Garra Acción y Sudor. And Real Life Need for Speed is going to be starting soon. And we're just getting started in the whole neighborhood fun, tear it up like Terry Labonte now. But back to all the Spurs talk, Victor Wembanyama. It was expected that he was going to get selected. I mean, there was a lot of people on Facebook bullshitting, saying that, all these Spurs fans out, in advance are sending, buying Wembanyama jerseys, making him their profile picture, and telling us a cover photo, which it was expected, obviously, that we were going to get him. But at the same time, it was also very wise, like Dale Earnhardt Jr., to be careful what you were doing. And, I can understand why some of the other Spurs fans that were skeptical about him were skeptical and bullshitting, saying, what if you're like buying all this stuff with his name in it and the Spurs likeness, setting him as your profile picture and all these decorations or your header and everything, and then when you don't pick him, then what'll be the excuse? Well, that's what I was worried about too, but I'm glad I was wrong. So therefore, I'm hoping the Spurs content can come back to TikTok. I'm hoping it really, really can come back to TikTok and here to YouTube. So while also at the same time balancing the Spurs content with, the same content I brought last year during season 2 of Winter Wonderland in place of it. The cooking videos, the miscellaneous projects, the TV broadcast style YouTube videos with football and basketball games across the nation when it comes to high school, middle school, work sites, like ViaQuest or, the school system in the nation. Northeast Ohio, based on, the stuff I've attended. I mean, the television season of NBC gets added to the lineup for the first time. It's going to be a really, really fun, hopefully fun 2023-24 season. Hopefully this will be, finally, get the Spurs back to where they were. Hopefully Wemby picks up where Duncan left off in 2014-15 before he lost it all in 2015-16. And it picks up, where Robinson, at the same time rolled up and one picking up where Duncan left off and picking up where Robinson left off before that horrible injury in game 1 of the round 1 series against Seattle in 2002 when I lived in Mexico. I mean, I hope he's not an injury-prone player like a bunch of people talking shit on Facebook are saying. I hope he doesn't get injured too much. I hope, he doesn't turn out to be the bust that some of the skeptical doubters are making him out to be. I mean, the dude hasn't played a fucking single-ass game in the NBA, and you're already talking shit about him. And, stuff like this is just like food. It's like new actors on the show replacing, your favorite actor playing one of your favorite characters like we've done in the last couple of television seasons. It's like you never know until you try it, or you don't know really think if you're gonna like someone or not until you meet them, or you never know if you're gonna if a player's good or not until you watch one game or a few more of them. So that is the case with Wemby here. Now for the other elephant in the room, the imposter, Malik Rose's number.
What is Kenyon Martin doing? Rose throws it over Mutombo.
Now you're probably wondering, Mark, who the fuck is this Malik Rose wannabe and imposter you're talking about? Well, let me give you all a little education. Have you ever had that player that just aggravates you to the core yearly as a trend? Or two, some modern day rando that's a wannabe of someone who is in that number in any sport, like for me, NASCAR and basketball, was a better player or a better athlete or even let alone a better person than the person using the number now could ever think of. Well, it's the case of Denny Hamlin in NASCAR. Brett Bodine is a better man in person than Denny could ever think of, despite the fact that Denny is the better driver. I mean, Bruce Bowen in a 12 for us in San Antonio is way better than LaMarcus Aldridge ever was, and Aldridge can't even carry Bowen's jockstrap. So to all the people that saying that Aldridge should get his number 12 retired alongside Bowen, like co-retired, I'm going to say, yes, I want whatever you're smoking, first of all. And second of all, Bowen gave us 1, 2, 3 championships in 03, 05, and 07. Had a bit bigger and better impact for us in the years we was with San Antonio from 2001 to 2009. What the fuck did Aldridge do besides, monster regular season games and monster games, occasional monster games and meaningless regular season games, and some monster games and some playoff games that the Spurs end up losing. He didn't fucking do shit. It's the same thing if you're picking him over Boris Diaw. At least Diaw gave us a championship in 2014 and was very close to giving us one in 2013. Aldridge never made a finals with San Antonio. I mean, even though he really should have in 2016, we should have sent this man out as a champion in 2016 like we did with Robinson in 03, but we didn't. As soon as he left, Aldridge should have also hit the finals in 2017. And wait, if Parker never had the injury versus the cheating McDouchebag in round 2, and if that Kawhi's ankle doesn't get hurt, before Zaza did the electric slide under his ankle, you got to remember he already had an ankle injury prior to that happening, and Zaza made it field to the fire. So without all that stuff happening and David Lee going in the wheelchair as the cherry on top, they had field to the fire. Aldridge Spurs should have won 2 titles, last one with Duncan and the first one without him. So if you had the 5 championships along with the one where they should have won in 2013 and then the ones they should have won in 16-17 based on the circumstances, that makes 2013 says 6, 2014 16-17 could have been 8, and then look at all the times they did make the finals in 2003, 05, and 07. Every other year they lost. They had a shot at going to the finals, but they didn't. So you have 8 championships in a alternate universe. So if the first year they didn't have David, Fisher misses that shot, or the clock starts in the nick of time as soon as they get the ball inbound, he releases it, and it doesn't count. Spurs have the momentum going to Los Angeles to Game 6 and eliminate Shaq and Kobe for the second year in a row, the first time and only time they did it without David Robinson during that time period when it was actually prime NBA basketball. So that's basically 9 championships the Spurs could have won. 2006, the Spurs had Game 7 against Dallas in the bag in the second round. Ginobili committed a stupid foul. That makes 10 championships. 08, even in 08 when, Ginobili had the bum ankle and, the Spurs had the playing difficulties after the New Orleans days that went to 7 games, that's 10 championships the Spurs could have had. You know what I'm saying? But obviously it just wasn't meant to be. The basketball gods and also the Estúpido Pendejo network has always disrespected the Spurs. the basketball gods have had no love for the Spurs when it comes to preventing us winning back-to-back championships. And even when we do good things, the Estupido Pendejo network always gives the Spurs disrespect. And, there's a lot of disrespect that we're given from the media in general. And I remember this one guy I've been following through his mutual connection with the Spurs on Facebook. He went to a snapback store, Lids, I think it was, and there was a Spurs hat that said all the championships, 99, 03, 05, 07, and 2014, but it wasn't really, it didn't have the Spurs logo or the Spurs color. It was Chicago Bulls, and he was joking, saying probably the Estupido Pendejo network, aka ESPN, made it. Maybe they did. It's like, even in the stories, there's no running away from, Spurs disrespect. I mean, man, but anyway, back to the elephant in the room. Bowen can't even carry, Aldridge can't even carry Bowen's jockstrap. I'm gonna fuck that up. And as an athlete, and maybe as a person too, I don't know. But as a person, Denny Hamlin can't even carry, Brett Bodine's jockstrap as a person. Maybe as a driver he can, but as a person, hell no. Let me see here. What's another one? Oh, yeah. Quindary Weatherspoon and Joe Wieskamp, as much as I wanted them to succeed, they could never live up to the expectation or have filled the shoes that Matt Bonner left in the 15. But those two were the lesser of two evils when it comes to, modern-day players taking numbered the Spurs grades. But this is the one that pisses me off to no end. Keita Bates-Diop. Time for this motherfucker to go. He's not a bad player by any means. He's actually a good player. But what really upsets me is the fact that, he has Malik Rose's number. I am 31. I remember there was a campaign on Facebook before Keita Bates was even a thought that, that Malik should get his number 31 retired in the Rafters, and I agree, he should. He had a huge impact to the Spurs from 97 to 05 before they traded him away to New York for Nazim Mohammed, won 2 championships, could have won 3 if he would have stayed, and we never really got Mohammed and everything. He meant a lot to the city, and, like I was saying, do you ever have that player that aggravates you to the core year in and year out? And 1920, it was Bryn Forbes and Marco Bellinelli. Forbes was the lesser of two evils because at least he could shoot and, have good games every once in a while from downtown, including the Martin Luther King game against Phoenix. I totally understand that. But Bellinelli, for those who say he was a lights-out shooter and, defending him, saying I disagree about him sucking, well, I can understand, but that basically makes you sound like you're defending the second version of Marco, because if anything, the first version of Marco was better. He contributed to a winning team. You got to admit, the second version did suck. The second version did suck because he was slow as fuck, played no defense, and was an offensive and defensive liability too. So because he was old and slow, but I get it, but it still didn't make it okay that he was hurting the team more than helping. And then in 2020, 2021, it was LaMarcus Aldridge and Rudy Gay. That was the players I was getting fed up with. They were really, really bad. I remember it was Aldridge getting old and Rudy Gay was sucking ass the whole year. And Aldridge left before that season ended, and then in the off season, after the oddly weird season where the playoffs didn't start till late May, early June, and we didn't end the season till early to mid July, we finally got rid of them. Unfortunately, at this time we thought everything was gonna be okay, and Pop Brian Wright in the front office makes the stupidest choice by bringing Forbes back. Sure, championship experience, but whenever he suits up, and that guy's in jail anyway for beating his wife on my birthday. That couldn't happen to a better guy, because he was a fraud before that happened. He's a fraud now, because fuck him and everything he stands for. Who cares if you won a championship? He's not that good. He still isn't very good. Because, when he came back to San Antonio, he picked up where he left off from 2019-2020 before the season was stopped due to COVID. He just sucked ass on the end. But it looked like during the Cleveland game that I was doing the broadcast, the live stream on the Sports Head Network, it looked like he was actually starting to get better, but of course they benched him for a while, and then of course they traded him, and I was never happy in my life to get rid of somebody. But that was not over. That was not it. Apparently, shitbanks, took the place as, the next player that screwed up in San Antonio, because we had Bryn Forbes screw up twice. We had Marco Bellinelli does come back and screw up once. Oh yeah, I forgot. 2018-19, Pau Gasol was the first player that screwed up in San Antonio. He was a decent pick to replace him in 2016-17 when he retired. Although we got him a couple years too late because he should have came in 13-14. And Duncan was still relatively, really, really good before he got really old and slow. But nope, he was chasing money and instead of, where the talent was. And, he could have been an NBA champion with us to add to his resume with the Lakers, but no. So therefore, that's why when we ended up getting him too late. He was already at the end of his career. I mean, he was all right in 16-17. He was not bad in 17-18, but by 18-19, he just got worse and worse and worse. And finally, we got rid of him. Yeah, so he screwed up in 18-19. I forgot about him. Forbes and Bellinelli screwed up in 19-20. Aldridge and Gay screwed up in 2021 and 21-22. It was Forbes again that screwed up, but luckily we got rid. Pop saw what the problem and got rid of his ass before the season was over. But then Drew Eubanks took his place as the player that the new player screwed up in San Antonio. And guess what? We finally got rid of him. And Keita Bates-Diop is basically screwing up in San Antonio by riding a Spurs great's coattails and trying to live up to it with less than half the talent, let alone no talent at all. So now that we got Wembanyama, all I gotta say is pop Brian Wright in the front office. If you guys stumble across this video by accident, or even the Brent Barry himself, get rid of that fucking Malik Rose wannabe, Keita Bates-Diop, and never bring him back again. Don't let anybody else take 31. Don't let anybody else take 8 or 15. So that way we can put Malik, Bonner, and Patty in the Rafters, because sure, they were not Hall of Fame players, but if there's a singular player, even if they're not a Hall of Fame legend or superstar, that has an impact on one team for so many years, they deserve to have their jersey retired. Nick Collison of the Supersonics and Thunder has entered the chat, so if Nick Collison can have his jersey retired with Seattle OKC, so can Patty Mills, Matt Bonner, and Malik Rose with San Antonio, with 8, 15, and 31. But first, please dump that Malik Rose wannabe, because Keita Bates-Diop wishes he was as good as Malik Rose was in the 31. Can't even carry Malik's jockstrap and can't even live up to his greatness with that number with less than half the talent, barely no talent at all. I mean, he's not a bad player. He has not really screwed up on the court, but I'm getting sick and tired of seeing all these, some of these Spurs greats players' legacies tarnished with all these nobodies taking their number when they should have been retired, first, as quickly as possible before they got here. And what I didn't like about Aldridge taking the 12 and have Bowen letting him have it is the fact that, if I was Bowen myself, I would have told him, no, use your college number 23. I would have been perfectly okay with that. Then maybe, even if we get the same outcome with Aldridge in San Antonio, maybe we could retire Aldridge's number with the 23 of his college number. But no, I get, we just like we learned in the late 90s in Cleveland, you can't always get what you want. And ever since we grew up here, it's like we've learned we can't have nice things. So as long as Brian Wright in the front office doesn't let anybody have 8 for as long as possible, which is for a long enough time to the point where I say, let's retire Patty's jersey, and because he played a big impact for us from 2012 through 2021, I think. 2021, yeah. So yeah, 2021, nearly 10 years, was a 9-year time span, and he won a championship, made a finals, could have won 2 championships if we had Ginobili in the fraud and made the free throws in 2013, but hey, it is what it is. Bonner won 2 championships with us in 07 and 14, could have won 3 and 13 if, again, Ginobili and the fraud had made their free throws in Game 6 of the finals, and Malik won us 2 championships, maybe could have been 3 if we never traded him away for Nazim Mohammed. Those players deserve to have their jerseys retired in San Antonio under the 8 for Patty, 15 for the Red Rocket, and 31 for Malik Rose. Time for Keita Bates-Diop, aka that Malik wannabe, to get the fuck out of San Antonio and stay out in the 31 and never be used again. And hopefully no rookies, who don't do shit here but go to other teams and, thrive there, don't take the 15 again so he can retire, put Bonner in the Rafters. Hopefully no future veteran, rookie, young gun alike will ever take 8 again so he can put Patty in the Rafters. So that's my, end of video, San Antonio rant. But man, am I excited. So maybe we'll see if my mom will actually get the league pass this year. And if she can't, then Oh well, but I'm gonna try my best. So even if she does get it, I have to find a way to also balance coming back to the Spurs for my 27th year as a fan, but also being able to balance it with the content, the never before seen content that I'm gonna bring back the next season for season 3 of Winter Wonderland. The 2023-24 television season, along with life in general. Maybe one day I'll start watching NASCAR on a somewhat of a part-time basis again, if the weather's not good. But anyway, time for me to wrap this all up and get back to binge watching my favorite YouTubers, watch them do their thing, and finish this. Coca-Cola here. So have a good night tonight and a better day tomorrow. Life will give you a lot of lows, but when you hit a high, enjoy it. It ain't for the weak. Goddamn, pace yourself, bring your ass, be you. You don't have to try harder to do less. You can't deport a dream. Sometimes the worst things in life lead to the best things. Always bet on the side of love. You got to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Sometimes you just got to be present. You never fail until you stop trying. It never pays to worry too much about things. It's never too late to turn the day around. Another day on time, another day to shine. Sometimes you just got to flock yourself, trust your instincts, stand up for yourself, not back down to anyone. All for one, one for all. You got to balance. Just when you think things will never be okay again, here comes a miracle that proves you way wrong. A connection can happen when you least expect it. Honesty is the best policy. Sometimes you just got to dive in, follow your dreams, show up for the rest of your life. When you're all chained together, every day is a win. There is no tomorrow. Everyone is strong in many different ways. Sometimes you don't get to choose who you love. Take care, everyone. Good night. I will see you guys tomorrow and Saturday when we finally bring back the television, the TV reaction videos for Villains of Valley View. Pretty freaking scary. And whatever if we have a video Sunday, you'll see it. But if you don't see it, you'll know why. I'm hoping the beginning of next week, since the weather's not going to be too promising, I can talk about Bunk getting a season 7 and the Elliott Sadler, Tim Duncan and Summer of Mark's presentations about the Writers Guild of America strike and how it's impacted Bunk season 7 and lay out how season 2 and all that stuff. And then July is going to be busy, so you won't want to miss it again. There'll be no 4th of July July bash recorded on camera. I already acknowledged it in yesterday's video, so therefore, if you haven't watched that one yet, please go do so. Link is in the description. Neighborhood Fun Tear It Up Lake Terry Labonte, episode 11, the Brett Bodine installment. So for at least if you watch that video and go to see it, watch that whole video and listen to that explanation of why there will be no 4th of July Sandy Bridge Bash here on the channel this year like it was last year, you'll know why. So anyway, time to get off this thing and get ready to knock out the week tomorrow and get ready to finally tune into season 2 of Villains of Valley View and the world debut of Pretty Freaking Scary on Disney Channel. See you later, everyone. Go Spurs, bitch. Oh, mama, fuck Kata Bates Diop.
I'm not listening. La 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 la. I can't hear you. La 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 la.